Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday morning trading room. We'll get the screen share going here and we'll be up and running. All right, here we go. You can see we had the Geiger counters just about to pass this big block of buying and selling that occurred pre-market. And that probably accounted for some of this early little rally. You can see from where the market left off last night, we've rallied up a little bit. The European session a little bit sideways. But definitely a little bit of an overnight rally. So I'll probably be looking for maybe a little bit of a move lower initially. A lot of times when we have a rally in the overnight, we'll see the open try to reverse against that. We've also got a little bit of an opening gap below the market. I see a couple new names in the room here this morning. Welcome. What you're looking at, the way I have my charts organized, is I've got the Hawk Scalper here in the top left, the Falcon Swing Trader top right, Eagle Trend Trader bottom left, and then of course the Raptor on the bottom right. These charts that you're watching here are for the NASDAQ. I've also got the E-mini S&P and crude oil open, but please don't be shy about asking questions or requesting markets. If I can get the market in my data feed, I will definitely show it to you. We're still very early. We're only a few minutes into the session, and as you know, I tend to try to give the market a little bit of time to settle, choose a direction before I get too excited. So right now here on the Hawk, you can see we're getting a lot of yellow bars. Likewise on the Raptor. Trade Forecaster says we're coming out of swing mode, moving into scalp mode in about a minute's time. Pardon me. All right, so a little bit of a initial rally, it seems. Here on the Raptor, we pre-market had our cloud crossover signal. That's the #1 signal, followed by a hard edge bounce, followed by a very brief attempt to reverse the market. This would not have been a worthwhile trade to take because while the hard edge is our objective for that counter trend signal, and that was in turn followed up with yet another hard edge bounce. So it does appear as though we've got ourselves a little bit of a bullish market to start the day. And now I know it's often frustrating when you watch the market open and you see these big moves and you start kicking yourself saying, oh, why didn't I buy or sell, whatever the case may be. We got lots of time here. Oop, I was a little bit late here. I was just going to point out this first micro-macro cross signal here on the hawk. Not a bad signal probability-wise. The problem is because the market's moved so far, I really got to try to have an initial stop that's a little bit broader, just in case the market tries to make a macro pullback before it goes up to its scalp target. Now, the good thing, of course, with the hawk scalper is our high probability target is never that far away. All right, well, they're pressing pretty hard, that's for sure. I suspect now that they're back to the resistance line here at 58.43, 58.50, 58.40. These were numbers that were kind of influential a couple of days ago. I suspect we're going to see a little bit of selling come into the market. We may actually produce another counter trend signal here on the Raptor. I think I'm going to hold out for a little bit of a pullback or maybe even a counter trend signal. We do have opportunities to get in here on the Falcon. We have your basic, what we call a trend line touch signal, even though we haven't touched the trend line technically. All right, seller's getting a little bit of a foothold, maybe? What do we think? You can see here on the Geiger counter that buying spike that went through, rallied the market here, things subsiding somewhat. We did see some selling there for a second. As we get the Geiger counter dial pulls over and sticks, how it's doing now, and holds, that shows us more aggressive selling. So I think we're going to get a macro pullback here and maybe a number 2 counter trend signal with the Raptor. All right, the hawk producing a macro pullback. Some of you are going to view this as a 4-arrow consolidation, and I wouldn't argue with you on that. The macro pullback signal, though, here we have the same problem as we had earlier, namely, where do we cover this trade to make it work? And it's probably going to look something like that. And I think what I'm going to try to do is maybe even try to run this one out a little bit in case we try to breach the highs. And I think it's important that we do get above the highs here. And if they begin to struggle, it may be time to go. So as they try to get back down toward this support zone right through here, the buyers should try to show up again. We're not getting any other signals just yet. All right, a little bit more of a buying push now. And they should try to challenge the highs at this point. Had I left the break-even where it was, I would have engaged the break-even trigger at this point, but I pulled it away a little bit. So stops now at break-even, and well, we'll see whether we can ride out this next run at the high. If we can get above there before the market looks too far back, there should actually be a little bit of a move here. Come on, buyers, get me over the hump. There you go. Come on, get up there. There we go. Oh, don't flinch yet. So it's not unusual to see a reaction when you break a swing high like this. And I'm just trying to hang on and not get tagged at break even. I'm fairly certain about the direction. It's just, can I ride out the swing? All right, so I'll go now with the parabolic stop. Try to protect a little bit of open profit as prices try to advance a little bit higher. Where's the next support zone? 58.56 half. Now let's see if they can get up there. And as I accumulate more open profit, well, the parabolics you can see are pretty good. Once a market is trending, they will tend to bring the stops up fairly quick. We can also use the bar high-low strategy, which is we can make a little bit more aggressive here. Say, keep the stop only a couple bars back, but I'll stay with the parabolics here at the moment. So this whole 58, 45, 46 area giving me a little bit of grief. I think if we can push here above this 46, 47 area, that might encourage a little bit more buying, and these sellers that are shorting from here, we're going to hit their exit orders, which would be buy orders as well. And that could spark a little bit of a rally. Oh, get up there. trade to start the day. I almost thought we were going to be able to ride out that swing and pick up on the next leg higher, but it didn't work out that way. Lots of trading going on here. If you see your Geiger counter, you just look at the volume going through here. That was a volume that we participated in. But look at how the sellers started to offset it. Look at the wave that's happening here. We get some buying, we get some selling. Now it looks like we're going to get a little bit of a buying wave again. It's just showing a lot more volume coming into the market. And they're not going anywhere, which means a lot of that volume is being absorbed. We may actually end up here at a top, at a resistance level. We have encountered the secondary resistance here at 58.43, 43.25 to be precise. And now we're making a teeny tiny retest of the high. This technically is a test of the extreme. If we come back here with a sell signal, there is a good chance we will see the market try to retrace a little bit. Technically, the trend is up, but I don't think there's any denying that it is getting a little bit weaker. Here now on the Falcon, we're getting those double dot signals, which is the counter trend signal for the Falcon. But as I mentioned the other day, if you're looking at a double dot signal, you need to be able to tie it back into the history of the chart and the recent history. You need to be able to look back here and say, yeah, last time the market was at this price, last time the market was up at this price, this is what happened. You don't want to be going back, 3, 4, 5 days to get that evidence. It should be relatively fresh. Although, like I mentioned, I'm not opposed to the idea of shorting from here. So I'll keep a lookout here on the Raptor, because that's going to be one of the first tools to give us a counter trend signal. Having a tiny test of the extreme. Remember, before you have a counter trend signal, two components you need to have. First, you need to have something resembling a trend. Okay, we got that. And then you need to have a retest of the extreme. In this case, the extreme is the high, and a failure. You need to see the market no longer be able to continue with trend and give you a counter trend signal. And I think that's what we might be looking at here. And we're now into yellow bars. Again, a sign of a lack of upward momentum. Oh, there's the sell signal. Come back here. So the thing with counter trend signals, the advantage of a counter trend signal is that your risk is A, usually a little bit smaller, and B, you always know where to cover the trade. It's always above the high. The disadvantage to a counter trend signal is that it's a counter trend signal. It's always safer to stay with the trend than try to sell it or go against it, whether that be buying or selling. But I'll give this one a shot and see if I can't sneak the trade a little bit lower here. All right. Now, as I mentioned before, technically the target is the hard edge of the trading band. And I would always look to the furthest band, even though I'm going to leave my target right here. It is counter trend. We've had a strong uptrend. I'll be content to take my $100 out of this trade. But if you wanted to look for a bigger move, then you can risk it or try to capture the low edge of the band here around 58.28, or maybe even the primary resistance here at 58.30. Getting a little bit of pushback from the buyers now, which again is to be anticipated. My signal here that I took was what I would call an early number 2 signal. Obviously, it did not print with a prompt, and that's because this little test of the extreme developed a little bit too quick for the programming. We're going to see maybe another retest of the high and another push lower. That time, we will produce a number 2 signal. So we've come up now on the underside of this resistance zone. Hopefully that will hold the market down for the short term, at least long enough for me to get my profit target on the trade. buyers and sellers pretty evenly matched here. You can tell by the zones or the legs. See that move up pretty much matches that move down. That tells you that things are pretty balanced, and of course we're also getting a bunch of yellow lines or yellow bars, which is also telling us that we've got a fairly balanced, fairly neutral market right now. $58.40 again being a problematic zone. This was a number that we saw a lot of activity on only a couple days ago, so it's a number to keep in mind. Put it on a little sticky note. 58.40 is a sensitive number for the NASDAQ market. Yeah, we've got to see the market get here below this 58.40 zone, even below these lows right here, ideally. So 58.37 3/4. We'll call it 58.38. But those are the levels right now that are holding this market up. If we can see prices get below there, well then we should have no trouble getting to our profit objective. So we're just watching and waiting. Looking for another bearish push as we test the extreme, and as I mentioned, that's the time we're going to get the number 2 signal printing. All right, looking for the sellers now to step up. Again, this is always the problem with a counter trend signal. It's not that it isn't worth trying, but you just need to be aware that counter trend signals, you don't have the probabilities on your favor, in your favor. Come on, sellers. Nope, they couldn't pull it off. That's not to say we're not going to get another attempt to move the market lower, but that wasn't it. Oh, look at that. Here they come again. After all that, they're going to tag me by a tick and try to short it again? Well, it wouldn't be the first time. Just making a couple notes in my trading journal here. And I wonder whether they're going to come back here, hold these highs, and try to short it again. Things kind of drying up here a little bit. Well, there's really not much going on here. As we wait for the next signal, you can see here was that little chunk of buying that went through the market. All right, I'm thinking that this next attempt to move the market lower may have a little bit more or a better result. Remember how I told you the other day the market tends to do things in pairs? Well, we've had two legs up. So there's the move higher. We've had one move lower. So it may try to give us one more move lower. That's what I'm on the lookout for now. And it's not that I have a bearish bias. The overall market trend is up. So it's always easier to be a buyer than a seller. However, if the conditions are right, it could be a shorting opportunity. Well, still watching, still waiting. We don't have any other counter trend type signals. Or any signals for that matter. All right, the hawk kind of going sideways here, starting to develop a little bit of a sideways range. The raptor is going to be one of the first tools to give us a counter trend signal. And this is a very, very drawn out test of the extreme. Normally the test of the extreme looks like this, where it comes up a little bit short. That's a proper test of the extreme, and then the market falls off from there. Occasionally, the market will make a higher high before falling off. And then somewhere through this next decline, there will be another little test of the extreme. This is how you get your head and shoulders patterns. But what we're looking for is we're looking for the market's inability to resume the trend. Once we have confirmation of that, then I will try to short. But so far they're not ready. All right, well, we'll just put that back on the shelf. Okay, we're almost teeing up here for a possible retracement back to the hard edge. Our band has gotten quite broad again, and starts. That's the start of a counter trend move. Again, you have to have a trend. My goodness, we're trading in slow motion. Now, this is what August is usually like. It's not like it was the other week where we had all that volatility. This is a typical August trading day. Well, still not getting that set up for a proper short. Not yet, anyways. We are printing a 4-arrow consolidation here in the hawk, so that remains a little bit on the bullish side. I was really thinking we were going to get a sell signal here. Okay, come on. We know they're going to head lower. It's just waiting on the signal to confirm everything. So I'm just looking for a test of the extreme or maybe a red bar buy, something that I can look to short here. We've got maybe a double dot signal here on the Falcon, but it too isn't giving me a whole lot of follow through right now. All right, so here's that macro pullback slash 4 arrow consolidation, giving us a little bit of an uptick. That might be enough to qualify as a test of the extreme, providing the market turns here and gives us a sell signal. That would kind of put everything together for our shorting attempt. All right, are they going to turn around here? Maybe. Well, if they don't turn around soon, that may well be the move of the day right there. They could just spend the rest of the session going sideways, although I think we are definitely due for a little bit of a retracement here. We have been bullish since the open, so about an hour and a half, although you can't really call what's been going on here for the last half hour, 45 minutes, really bullish. Ah, right you are. Jeff says we've got a late filter entry here on the Falcon. So the Falcon definitely looking bullish right now, giving us a buy signal. And Jeff says the 2440 area on the E-mini is an area of congestion. So that's right through here, that secondary resistance line. So you can see we're kind of jamming up a little bit here. The resistance zone's getting a little bit, well, that one a little bit narrower. And that's probably accounting for some of the sideways trading we're looking at as well. All right, gang, we might close up shop here a little bit early. You know, I do have a slightly bearish bias on the next signal. I would like to see a failure here. I would like to see a sell signal print. And I'm reasonably certain that we will get a retest here of the hard edge. But first, we have to wait for the signal to actually produce. Can't jump the gun on that one. All right, let's button up shop here for the day, and we'll do it all again tomorrow. Hopefully the market will be a little bit more cooperative. I will see you at that time. Talk to you soon.